Alright, man, welcome back to another reaction. Today we got Hollywood won't cast these 7 actors anymore. Why? Like always, let's not waste any time. Just get right into this one, man.
We're going to talk about 7 actors
7 actors?
who are no longer cast by Hollywood, beginning
These are
with
all
Sean
big
William
actors, too.
Scott, whose performance
These guys are
as
all
Stifler
big
in
actors.
American Pie was so iconic that it actually hindered him from landing future roles. Sean stated in a 2010 interview, "I had so much fun and loved the character, but I don't want to be known as that character forever. Now I'm realizing that I probably will be known as that character forever." Also adding in a Conan O'Brien interview that Stifler...
That happens with a lot of actors, right? Is they get like their first big role is this movie and it's really successful and they're really successful as a character, and then they kind of get stuck in that
is
fucking
basically all
little
he's seen as when fans meet him in real life.
Do people like think you're Stifler? Do you have situations where people
People think that I'm my guy.
Yeah.
They think that I'm Stifler.
This made it difficult for Sean to land any role where he wasn't playing a douchey frat boy, although this wasn't so much of an issue at the start. He'd star in films such as Dude, Where's My Car, The Dukes of Hazzard, as well as Role Models, finding success
Dukes of Hazzard is classic, the
film
classic.
with the American Pie persona. However, these types of raunchy teen comedies aren't all that common anymore, and with Sean William Scott approaching his 50th birthday, it's
Damn!
not difficult to see why he no longer has the same utility as he used to. Between 2019 and 2022, Sean didn't appear in a single production, yet he would return in a TV series called Welcome to Flatch, in which Sean still looks exactly like Stifler over 23 years later.
That's
Although
wild.
Sean William Scott isn't the only
Yeah,
actor with this
McLevin.
problem, as Christopher Mintz-Plasse has been unable to escape the legendary name McLovin
Yeah.
ever since starring in Superbad. The movie was literally Chris's very
It's
first
so good.
acting role, being cast for his unique nerdy appearance, which when plastered on a certain iconic fake ID, made him recognizable to everybody. It stated in a Vanity Fair interview
That's
the
a
day
stupid fucking name.
after it came out, I was a nobody, 18 years old.
Bruh,
I'd never done anything
so
in
good.
my life. And then the next day I go to a Habit restaurant, and then someone across the way goes McLovin in front of like 40 people. Then I was like, oh, something is changing in the atmosphere here,
McLovin!
leading to concerns from fellow Superbad co-star Emma Stone, who stated, "Is Chris Mintz-Plasse going to be called McLovin for the rest of his life?" Chris had found himself with the same curse as Sean William Scott, which is interesting
Oh,
as the
this
two would
movie.
star along
Yeah, this movie's fucking good. Fuck, what's the name of this movie?
alongside each other only 1 year after
Role Models?
Superbad, where Chris played a
What
character
is it?
very similar to McLovin. More than half of his 5 most recent
Trolls.
films have been voice acting roles, possibly done so he could disassociate from McLovin, yet on the trailer for his most recent film called Honor Roll, one of the top comments is still, "You know you're getting old when McLovin from Superbad
Guidance
now plays
counselor
guidance
roles."
counselor roles in teen movies."
Fuck,
Despite being
true.
unable to escape
God
the
damn
curse
it,
of
man.
McLovin, Christopher
Really
Mintz-Plasse
true.
has managed to find success in the music industry with his band called Main Man. When asked during an
What?
interview, "Do you ever feel pulled toward
Music?
acting or music more than the other?" Chris responded by stating, "I would love to keep balancing the two. I think I'm very lucky and grateful for where I am right now that I can do both. Acting, you can work for 3 months and not work for 6 months. So in that time, I love the momentum of music
Wait. Work for 3 months and not work for 6 months. That's only 9 months. You're still missing 3. We're still missing 3 months, bruh.
and everything that's going on. The momentum right now is very musical. I kinda just go with the flow, and it seems as though Jim Carrey has taken on a similar attitude. In the early days, Jim Carrey had a never-ending list of cult classic films.
True.
The Grinch, The Mask, The Truman Show, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, even Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind was amazing. However, when was the last time you heard any hype around a Jim Carrey movie after maybe the second Dumb and Dumber almost 10 years ago? There's a good reason for this. Between 2016 and 2020, Jim Carrey took a 4-year hiatus from acting,
I
which
did not
seemed to
know
have been
that,
catalyzed
wow.
by the death of his ex-girlfriend in late 2015.
That is
the
fucked
tragedy
up,
not
man.
only resulted in grief, but Jim Carrey also had to spend the entirety of 2017 embroiled in various lawsuits related to her passing. He was dismissed of any legal wrongdoing in early 2018, yet only 6 months later in a Hollywood Reporter interview, it was explained that Jim Carrey was an actor who had affected effectively renounced his own celebrity after stating, "I just didn't want to be in the business anymore. I didn't like what was happening, the corporations taking over and all that. And maybe it's because I felt pulled toward a different type of creative outlet." Jim Carrey instead began to focus on painting, and while he would return to acting for a brief period in 2020, he'd go on to state this in April 2022.
Oh yeah, he was
Well,
in
I'm
Sonic.
retiring, but I really like my quiet life, and I really love putting paint on canvas. And this is something you might never hear another celebrity say as long as time exists. I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
He added that Sonic the Hedgehog 2 would be his final movie, and apart from a small appearance in the Weeknd's Out of Time music video, Jim Carrey has stayed true to his retirement. But whatever happened to Tobey Maguire? As summarized well by this comment, I don't care what other movies this guy plays in, he will always be Spider-Man to me. And while this is true for most Tobey Maguire fans, he isn't really typecast in the same way as McLovin or Stifler. He found success playing fairly unique roles in other films such as The Great Gatsby, yet since 2014, almost 10 years ago, he appeared in no more than 3 films and 1 episode.
He was in Boss Baby? He was the narrator? What the fuck?
Of a TV show.
I did not know that.
He's not a romantic lead, he's not an action star, he's not a comedic actor, he's not a Shakespearean. His boyish good looks were appealing in his 20s and 30s, but not when he's in his early 40s. Basically, Tobey Maguire has a limited range as an actor, and there aren't many roles for him within that range. Besides being fairly limited in terms of what roles he can play, Tobey Maguire has also found himself in numerous media scandals. In 2015, it was reported that Maguire won as much as 30 to 40 million from illegal poker games over the course of 3 years, with most of this money having come from a hedge fund manager who's now serving 10 years in prison himself for running an illegal Ponzi scheme. The poker games were organized by a woman named Molly Bloom, who wrote in her memoir that Maguire asked her to bark like a seal who wants a fish in order to earn a $1,000 poker chip. The poker game organizer added that she tried to laugh it off. However, the actor persisted and said, "I'm not kidding, what's wrong? You're too rich now, you won't bark for $1,000? On top of this scandal, there are YouTube compilations dedicated solely to Tobey Maguire getting angry at paparazzi. Although the main reason behind why he's disappeared from Hollywood is because he's busy making movies as opposed to acting in them. Despite having acted in only 4 productions since 2014, he's been the producer for 8 movies during the same time period.
Wow. I don't know any of these. I don't know any of these.
Which is significantly more prolific than Taylor Lautner.
Oh my god, it's Jacob!
Who was blacklisted by Hollywood for a much more brutal reason.
Wait, what?
Taylor
He got
Lautner
blacklisted?
became an overnight sensation at the age of 16 after starring in the incredibly famous series Twilight, with his attractive physical appearance helping him to land the role and maintain an audience of dedicated teenage fangirls. Almost every Taylor Lautner interview focused on his body.
So everybody's talking about the scene where you drop your pants. How is that?
With the whole Team Jacob versus Team Edward fiasco, helping Taylor Lautner to earn an estimated $40 million from the franchise. He was so famous that for 10 whole years, he didn't go to a grocery store, movie theater, or a mall. Although over time, this insane level of fame began to fade.
It died,
The 4 movies he starred in after Twilight each failed to crack 6 stars on IMDb, the worst of which being described as a 4th-rate Hollywood thriller that bundles a lot of thievery from better movies, is entirely bereft of suspense or excitement, and features a leading man who absolutely positively cannot act. By 2016, Taylor Lautner had stopped exercising altogether.
Damn, bruh, the transformation!
Leading him to lose the body that had made him so famous in the first place.
And, you know, what happens when you don't want to see a gym is you start losing the 8-pack. Seeing it online was very tough. And being like, wow, he's let it all go. I was like,
let it all go.
Did I really let it all go?
It'd be unfair to call Taylor Lautner's Twilight success lucky, as he definitely had to put in a lot of work prior to landing the role, but it did seem like he'd caught the right wave at the right time. The movie demanded a fit guy in his late teens, which Taylor Lautner suited perfectly at the time. However, this on its own was insufficient to ensure any long-term success. But while every person we've discussed so far has continued to land small roles here and there,
started coaching?
Time to talk about Cameron Diaz, who hasn't been cast in a single movie.
Wait, why do I know this bitch? Cameron Diaz. What movie is she in? I know that fucking
is
name.
2014. She found massive success with movies such as Shrek, Charlie's Angels, and There's Something About Mary, holding the title of the highest paid actress over the age of 40, while appearing in multiple films every year up until her.
This movie, Bad Teacher, that's what it is. That's where I know her from. This movie's fucking good, man. Bad Teacher's hella good.
A disappearance.
I didn't know she was in
what
Shrek, though.
happened? Well, unlike most of the others we've covered in this video, Cameron Diaz's vanishing from Hollywood instead came from her end. She'd explained in an interview with Kevin Hart that as someone who performed at the top level of her field, she needed to spend every waking hour focusing on the craft, and she was tired of living such a singular focused life. Cameron
sense.
Diaz has instead had a baby, written 2 self-help books, and launched a wine
Wow,
brand called
man.
Aveline, which seems to be much
Nice.
more than what Sacha Baron Cohen has been up
Damn, okay, it's the guy who did Borat.
to. After Borat grossed over $250 million back in 2006, Sacha Baron Cohen saw a steady decline in the performance of every film afterwards. The Dictator did $180 million, Bruno did $140 million, yet by 2016, Grimsby did only $28 million on a budget of $35 million, meaning the film lost $7 million,
Damn.
whilst prompting reviews such as Baron Cohen is a one-trick pony and his shtick has worn thin. In 2016, he stated that Hollywood would be too scared to make Borat today, explaining that the incredibly crude humor which made the movie so successful was
Yeah.
better suited to when the film was first released.
I mean-
the kind of stuff he pulled off in
100% he's right. That doesn't just go for Borat. That goes for like every movie made before like 2012, bro. Like all those movies, I don't think they could be made today, man. It's just everything's changed, and motherfuckers are way too like Superbad. It's a great example. They already talked about McLovin. Superbad could not be made today. No fucking chance could Superbad be made today, man. No
Borat
shot.
is much harder to do in this YouTube/iPhone age, as Cohen himself admitted while doing press for this one. The same kind of problem can also be applied
the
to
fuck is
Bruno
this?
in The Dictator, but it's the risky comedy in these films that makes them so entertaining to watch. On top of being more limited in terms of what jokes he can make, Sacha Baron Cohen has also been limited by lawsuits. He stated in a 2012 interview that he could no longer make movies like Borat and Bruno, as the movies I did up till now they involved real people. At the moment, I think I have the Guinness World Record for the most sued actor in history.
Wait, they involved. Wait, so in those movies he like went out into public? What the hell? What the fuck is that? He went out into public, man? Holy
with
shit.
Borat accounting for at least 7 of these lawsuits. Despite this, Sacha Baron Cohen did release Borat 2 in October 2020,
Borat 2,
which was
really?
purchased by Amazon for $80 million.
I didn't even know that.
So while it's clear that he is still finding success with these roles, it'll be interesting to observe the performance of his next original film.
True. Well, that was fucking interesting, man. Yeah. Wow. Okay, that was a good video. Yo, hey, make sure to go subscribe to SunnyV2 if you haven't already, yeah? Go ahead, man. Go ahead.